Hello there, my name is Chrispy, and I collect Legos and display them in the most creative ways that I can think of. I often create realistic bases, taking inspiration from the art style of the LEGO video games and combine them with existing and custom LEGO sets and minifigures. Join me as we fly through my most popular custom LEGO display, bringing to life the beloved characters, iconic scenes, and nostalgic adventures from Star Wars' desert planet of Tatooine. And make sure to stay to the end of this video to see what it looks like all lit up. Star Wars is by far one of my favorite franchises of all time. The world has always fascinated me, and it brings me so much joy to bring so many of the iconic planets to life in our LEGO Star Wars closet right here. Tatooine is one of the most iconic planets in all of Star Wars, being a prominent element in so many movies and TV shows, and because of this, we have so many potential scenes we can recreate in our display. And let's be honest, it will likely be present in many more future installments, so we will always have room to improve this display, and that is what I love about it. Before I created my YouTube channel, I posted several videos and images of this Tatooine display on my TikTok and Instagram accounts. It is by far my most popular display, generating several millions of views. If you want to take a closer look at the progress this display has made over the past few years, you should follow me on these platforms. My username is of course CrispyBricks. The underscore is silent. Before we get started, please support the channel by liking this video, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. I have a lot more displays ready to make videos on. Let me know what you want to see next. There is also one mini kit hidden in this display. Comment down below if you can find it. Starting on the left-hand side of the shelf, you can see that Ben Kenobi's hut depicts the iconic scene from A New Hope where Princess Leia's hologram says, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're our only hope." Or as the LEGO game says, "Mem, mem, 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 mem." I know this scene takes place inside the hut in the movie, but to make it visible, I just simply moved it outside. R2-D2 is projecting Princess Leia, who is lit up with a flickering LED light from Light My Bricks. All of the lights in this display are from Light My Bricks, and as mentioned earlier, I will explain how it is lit up more in depth at the end of the video. Next to this is Ben handing Luke his father's lightsaber, the Youngling Slayer 3000. I am simply putting a little bit of poster putty to make Ben hold a lightsaber like this. To the left of Kenobi's house, we have Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen. This was one of the first of many amazing recommendations that you guys had for me. And perhaps the most morbid one too, I think we can definitely say that. If you have any other recommendations, please comment them down below. Maybe a couple less morbid. These are simply two robotic skeletons from the LEGO movie lying on top of each other. Again, I know these bodies should be outside of Luke's ranch, but I am taking more creative liberties since I do not have room for that in my current setup. It is weird though that LEGO has never made Luke's ranch into a set. Back here, we have the crashed escape pod from the beginning of A New Hope. You can see that C-3PO and R2-D2 have already had their big falling out and are going their own ways. Unfortunately, you can see that R2 is about to be found by some greedy Jawas. As you can see already with this R2, I have multiple of the same characters across different eras in this display.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them.
It is always my goal to recreate as many recognizable scenes as possible, not to be the most accurate. As you can see, if you pay close attention, that both Mos Eisley and Mos Pelgo, for example, have been combined in this display. To the right of the escape pod, you can see that I am repurposing this building from the UCS Mos Eisley Cantina set to act as Watto's Junkyard, but maybe I should put a little bit more junk around it to make that more obvious. This Watto minifigure is standing on top of a transparent panel with the base of it buried in the sand.
I don't like sand.
You can see Qui-Gon is next to him, and they're betting on Anakin's fate with this chance die in the middle. Here's a fun fact, the die was actually weighted to always be in Watto's favor, but obviously Qui-Gon used the Force to get his way and secure Anakin his freedom. Back here, we have some stormtroopers patrolling Tatooine, and one of them is riding a dewback. I love the mold for this dewback. There is something so special about molded LEGO animals and creatures that I absolutely love. I always get so excited when we get a new molded animal, and I wish we had more LEGO Star Wars creatures like this, especially a bantha. I just love molded LEGO Star Wars creatures so much.
From the moment I met you, all those years ago. Not a day has gone by when I haven't thought of you.
I also love all the details on these Stormtrooper minifigures covered in sand. They just look so great. You can also see that over here we have the Mandalorian speeder bike from Season 2. This bike is also suspended with a transparent panel with the base buried in the sand. I love using this technique. Behind all this, you can see we have the semi-custom Tatooine building. This is actually a slightly modified version of the official LEGO Mos Eisley Cantina set from 2014. The only modification that I did was I added roofs made of a bunch of tan LEGO bricks stacked on top of each other. On the back, we have this longer roof. These are made of tan bricks stacked on each other with a dark tan line in the middle to continue the pattern from the set. These honestly just kind of rest on top of the old set with a modified brick connecting it on the left hand side, and here in the front, these two openings just have some bricks wedged in them. There is no actual connection, so this is technically an illegal technique. Please forgive me.
She can't do that. Shoot her or something.
This was just a simple and easy way to create a random Tatooine building. Do you think I should add some more buildings like this to this side of the shelf to make it look more like a town, or do you like the simplicity and emptiness it has right now? Please let me know in the comments down below what you think I should do. As you can tell, I never consider any of my LEGO displays to be done. I always like to find ways to improve them over time. It's more fun and satisfying that way, especially when you are all involved. I found this rebrickable model by Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I honestly think that this might look great in this side of the shelf, but what do you think? Okay, now back to the display. In front of this building, you can see this girl with pink hair from the Book of Boba Fett throne room set. It was hard for me to find a place for her since her pink hair stood out so much against the sand, but I think this suits her. And, of course, next to her, we have Jar Jar, Padme, and Anakin just going on a stroll through Mos Eisley. I do eventually want to add a Shmi Skywalker with them, but unfortunately LEGO has never made one, so I'll have to get a custom one. Next to this building, we also have this droid that can be seen briefly outside the cantina in A New Hope. Here, you can see one of the many moisture towers in this display. This one is from the UCS Mos Eisley set and is my favorite, and I think we definitely need a couple more like this. Here is this custom chariot I made for Peli Motto from the Book of Boba Fett. This was when she was rushing to bring Grogu back to the Mandalorian after Boba Fett's show was hijacked. I had a lot of fun making this build, and it is surprisingly pretty accurate to the show. There is a modified pit droid flying out of the back of the chariot, just like in the show. This design is based on LEGO's official version, and is okay, but I much prefer the model used in the Complete Saga video game. One day, I plan on getting some custom molded pit droid figures based on their in-game appearance that I can put throughout this display. Do you like this idea, or do you like the brick build version better? There's also this custom droid leading the chariot that I designed entirely on my own based on the design from the show, and I'm very happy with how this turned out as well. Over here is my most controversial addition to any of my LEGO displays. Even though I have gotten hundreds of comments telling me to remove it, I never will! Can you guess what it is? I'm gonna reveal it in 3, 2, 1. Rey Skywalker.
I can't watch anymore.
I understand that many people don't like Rey or her movies, and they especially don't like this scene, but how could I not include it? It's the final scene of the Skywalker saga. The sequel trilogy, it definitely isn't my favorite, but there are many characters and moments I enjoy. I don't necessarily enjoy this scene, but it's an impactful one. I cannot make a Star Wars closet without representation from the sequel trilogy, no matter how many comments tell me otherwise. This mountain has been the centerpiece of this LEGO display for so long, and I absolutely love it. It was one of the first things that I ever made in this closet. So many of you have asked me where I got this mountain or how I made it, so I will finally address it. I first had the idea to create this mountain because I wanted a cave to hold the Rancor. I began by sketching out what I wanted the mountain to look like and some rough dimensions. With some help from my cousin at the time, who is an artist, we made this mountain out of styrofoam and paper mache. I wish I had a more detailed response, but that was all we did to create the base of this mountain. I unfortunately do not think I have any pictures or videos of this process because this was long before I started Chrispy Bricks. After we created the base, we used spray paint and an airbrush to give the mountain its color. We then took a spray adhesive to stick the sand on top of it. The sand is fine buff ballast from Woodland Scenics.
I like fine buff ballast from Woodland Scenics.
It's coarse and rough.
This is the same fine ballast that I use on the ground for the rest of this display as well. Most of the realistic elements in all of my displays are from Woodland Scenics. They're such a great company, and this isn't sponsored, it's just my honest thoughts. I definitely recommend using the products if you wish to create something realistic similar to this. Over here, of course, you can see the main purpose of this mountain, which is Jabba's palace. On top of this is the LEGO set from 2012. I actually have a second sealed copy of this set on top of the new Boba Fett's throne room set, and I've been meaning to combine all three of these to make a larger and more accurate Jabba's palace, and I think that this would hide the edge of the TV a little bit better and make it blend with the printed backdrop a little bit better. If you can't tell, the base of this set is actually buried in sand. When I expand upon this set, I plan on removing the gray base so I no longer have to keep it buried like this. You can see that C-3PO and R2-D2 are first attempting to enter Jabba's palace, but two Gamorrean guards block the door. Also, does anybody think that this eyeball thing that comes out of the gate says "touch my pinky"?
Touch my pinky.
I don't know, maybe it's just me. After 3PO and R2 get captured by Jabba, Princess Leia goes in disguised as a bounty hunter with Chewbacca as a prisoner. After they are captured as well, Luke Skywalker comes in. This seems like a pretty complicated plan if you ask me. And just like everybody else, Luke is captured and sent to the Rancor pit below. Down here, you can see the Rancor pit that started this whole display. I originally intended to gate off the entrance, but I ended up liking how it looked when it was open. Again, I'm taking creative liberties as this cave did obviously not open to the outside. Also, instead of depicting Luke fighting the Rancor like I originally had, I have one of my favorite scenes from the Book of Boba Fett. You can see that Boba Fett is riding his Rancor and confronting Cad Bane before their western standoff. This was another amazing recommendation that you guys had for me. Thank you yet again. Up here, you can see the scene from A New Hope where Luke Skywalker is looking through his binoculars right before he gets attacked by a Tusken Raider. Fortunately, Luke is saved by Ben Kenobi, who you can see behind him. This is another scene where I took some creative liberties, as in the movie, Kenobi mimics the Krayt Dragon to scare off the Raider instead of using his lightsaber. But I have Kenobi holding a lightsaber here, mainly just because it looks cool lit up. I'll show a better look at this at the end of the video. Do you think I should make the scene a little bit more accurate? I don't know. As I mentioned earlier, I really wish LEGO created a mold for a bantha like the ones in the LEGO games, specifically the ones from the Skywalker saga. It is crazy that we have only ever gotten one bantha in a set, and it was a really bad brick-built micro version from a few years ago. I created this custom bantha out of LEGO pieces, taking inspiration from a build I found on baronsat.com. Although I think this turned out great, I still want to eventually replace it with a custom model to make it more accurate to the video games. Do you prefer this brick built version or the custom molded version? Down here at the base of the mountain, you can see that we have Luke, Ben, R2, and 3PO riding in this land speeder. They are being stopped by these stormtroopers who are being told that these are not the droids that they're looking for. Or as the LEGO game said, Facing away from us are stormtroopers with the new LEGO helmets. This is simply because I hate them. They're too big and ugly, and they look like they're from Family Guy. I don't know why we still have these. The hatred that all of you might feel about my inclusion of Rey Skywalker is how I feel about these helmets. I don't know how they haven't been replaced yet. Let's just jump ahead real quick, and you can see this stormtrooper over here. He's also facing away because he has the ugly Family Guy helmet. Anyways, the troopers on either side of the speeder are actually standing on top of 1x2 LEGO bricks so that they are more visible. I often do this in my displays because I always like the figures to be seen as much as possible. Again, this speeder is suspended with several transparent panels underneath with some blue lights. I know it doesn't light up blue in the movies, but it looks pretty cool in my opinion. Behind this, we have another random Tatooine building, this one from the UCS Mos Eisley Cantina set. Here's the main building of the display in one of my personal favorite LEGO sets, the UCS Mos Eisley Cantina. You can see we have a bunch of different types of aliens going into the bar because it is a very diverse place inside. We also got this amazing custom Aura Singh minifigure, and if you watch my recent YouTube video, you know I got this from Brickworld Chicago, and this was made by Melnick Edits, Mayday Figs, Light Custom, and Gosler. Next to Aura Singh, we have a Kowakian monkey lizard sitting on top of some barrels. I love adding fun little elements like these to our display to fill up some otherwise empty space. I actually didn't even know what the species was called until writing the script for this video, but I love this name, Kowakian monkey lizard. We've got another dewback drinking from some water, and then in front of the cantina we have these two musicians playing music in the streets for money.
So uncivilized.
I guess they didn't make the cut to play inside with the rest of their friends. To the right of the cantina, we have another scene that I took some creative liberties with. In A New Hope, this confrontation between Han and Jabba takes place inside the spaceport with the Millennium Falcon, but here we have it outside the cantina. To Jabba's right, we have another Rodian dressed just like Greedo, which is accurate to the movie, and Boba Fett to his left, which is present in the special edition. This Boba Fett uses a technique that I like doing where one of his arms is actually detached from his body, but from the front it looks pretty cool. And I do know that Chewbacca wasn't there in this scene, but I kind of wanted to just put him somewhere outside of being next to Princess Leia, and I like him next to Han. And as I briefly showed you earlier when I went a little bit out of order, we have this Imperial spy back here meeting with the Family Guy stormtrooper. Most people do not see what is inside of the cantina because it is obstructed by this roof piece that I just removed. We have a couple of people drinking inside, including one Homer J. Simpson.
We're like that space guy who did that moon thing.
Neil Armstrong?
No, Chewbacca.
To be honest, I always forget he's in there until someone mentions it in a comment every once in a while. He is drinking a Buzz Cola, but I should get him a custom Duff beer piece for him to be drinking instead. Over here behind the cantina, you can see we have one of my favorite Star Wars duels, the fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul from Star Wars Rebels. Despite many people complaining about the animation and some childish tones, Star Wars Rebels is genuinely one of my favorite pieces of Star Wars content, and I definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't already. Here you can see Obi-Wan is doing his prequel pose to start the duel before he switches it a couple times, and he's doing this to mess with Darth Maul. Obi-Wan's bonfire is present just like it is in the show. I believe that this was one of the first recommendations a fan has ever given me, and it started an amazing trend that continues today, so I always look back at this edition very fondly. To the left of this duel, you can see a Tusken Raider camp with some Tusken Raiders surrounding the bonfire. A couple years ago, I made a poll to see if I should add Boba Fett teaching them how to ride a speeder like a bantha, or if I should instead add Anakin slaughtering them like he did in Attack of the Clones, one of my favorite Star Wars movies by the way. At the time, it was a close poll with Boba Fett barely winning, but I honestly believe that was only because I did the poll while the Book of Boba Fett was airing. Eventually, I want to make this camp larger with some custom tents and a lot more raiders and have Anakin slaughtering them.
And not just the men, but the women. And the children, too.
I will probably move Obi-Wan and Darth Maul somewhere else to make room for this, and I will elevate this so you can see it better behind the cantina. One of the biggest reasons I haven't done this yet is because I only have one Anakin from Attack of the Clones currently, and he is in my Geonosis display. As I've already mentioned several times, I have many lights in this display. They are all from my favorite lighting company, Light My Bricks, and I absolutely love how they truly elevate this display. Light My Bricks actually just came out with a brand new light system. They sent me this light kit here to review, and we gotta go install it into our UCS vendor that we still gotta build. But what's so exciting about these new lights is that the wires are even thinner, and there's instructions that tell you how to install the lights while you're actually building the set. I'm going to be making a review very soon on my Instagram and TikTok pages, so make sure you're following those so you don't miss it. I have the old light system, and you can see these wires aren't as thin as the new ones, but I have them all taped down, which would be easier with the new lights of course, but let's go take a look at what it looks like all lit up at nighttime. hope you enjoyed seeing this display lit up. It really is one of my favorite LEGO builds that I've ever added lights to. Something that I'm sure you have already noticed is that this back wall is a TV with an animated background. This is a borderless 4K 43-inch TV that I got from Best Buy on sale for a very decent price. I modified several videos that I found online to add the binary suns, adjust the brightness, contrast, and saturation to better match the shelf. I photoshopped out some unwanted elements like we didn't need two Jabba's palaces, and sometimes I added the Millennium Falcon flying through, which I'm sure you have seen sometimes in the background already. I have a 4K media player connected to this TV that plays all of these videos at random. Around every 10 to 15 minutes, the background changes. As you can see, I'm showing off little clips of each of the backgrounds that we have. Which ones do you like best? I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments below. I will post a video soon with a more detailed look at them, so make sure you have the notification bell on so you don't miss it. Unfortunately, the mountain does block a lot of the TV screen, but I'm very hesitant to change the mountain at all just because I really like how it looks. So, do you think it's fine to kind of leave it like this? Let me know what you think. Fortunately, the mountain does prevent the TV from falling forward. The TV base is covered by a Pink Panther styrofoam board under the Mos Eisley Cantina, covered in sand. I created a backdrop for the rest of the wall that is not covered by this TV. I had it printed from posterprintshop.com, and I'm honestly very impressed with the quality that they were able to achieve. It definitely does fit with some of these TV backgrounds better than others, but my hopes is when I make the big Jabba's palace, it blends this a lot better by blocking the edge of the TV. I hope you enjoyed this overview of my LEGO Star Wars Tatooine shelf. As it is my most popular display, I hope I answered your questions and showed off everything you liked. Please comment down below if I missed anything or you would like more details on something in particular. Like I said earlier, I never consider any of my displays to be done. I always like adding to them over time to improve them. Let me know what you think about all the ideas I mentioned throughout this video, and if you have any other recommendations, I would love to hear them. I will make more videos in this Tatooine display, of course, as I update it. I hope this video has inspired you to go on your own LEGO building journey. Remember, the power of imagination knows no bounds, and with LEGO, you can build worlds and narratives limited only by your own imagination. I hope this helps. Have a great day.